Hola, ¿qué tal, amigos? Profesor Pablo, grammar lesson número 30. Before and after. Hey, there's a lot happening with before and after. Point number one, before and after plus a noun. Well, it's either antes de plus your definite article and the noun, or después de plus your definite article and your noun. Now remember, there are four ways of going with de. Outside of de itself, you have del, de la, de los, and de las. Okay? So let's look at our examples. Before the game, antes del partido. After the game, después del partido. So we have antes or después, and we have some form of de, and then we have our noun. Before the party, antes de la fiesta, and after the party, después de la fiesta. Where did we get del? Okay? Just like Del Taco. They don't say de el taco, it's del taco. Remember, in Spanish, we have two contractions. De plus el without the accent is del, and a plus el without the accent is al. Let's try another one. Before the races, antes de las carreras. After the races, después de las carreras. After dinner, después de la cena. Before school, antes de la escuela. Before work, antes del trabajo. After work, después del trabajo. Piece of cake, right? There's de, del, de la, de los, and de las. Let's try another one. Let's say after the rain, después de la lluvia. Before the concert, antes del concierto. After the concert, después del concierto. Okay, let's go to point two. Before and after followed by the ing form of the verb. Well, it's antes de plus infinitive or después de plus infinitive. Examples: before leaving, antes de salir. After leaving, después de salir. Before eating, antes de comer. After eating, después de comer. Before working, antes de trabajar. After working, después de trabajar. After watching the game, después de ver el partido. Before leaving for work, antes de salir al trabajo. Before studying, antes de estudiar. After studying, después de estudiar. Before getting home, antes de llegar a la casa. After getting home, después de llegar a la casa. All right, let's look at point number three. Now, this one's interesting. I have told you many times, if you want to get to the top rung of the ladder, if you want to get to Mount Rushmore of Spanish, if you want to be the best of the best, if you want to be there up on top with the great ones that speak fluent, correct, and grammatically accurate Spanish, you must be able to handle the subjunctives. There's verb number 8, the present subjunctive, and verb number 9, the past subjunctive. We've been using them throughout our sentence starters quite a bit at the end. You should be very good at it now. And now throughout this grammar packet, remember, this is a reference section here. Grammar, reference section, but hopefully it's teaching you and you're learning some things as well. Okay, so here we go. Number 3. If you want to say before followed by something that hasn't happened yet, you've got to bring in VN8, the present subjunctive. Before I leave or before I take off, antes de que me vaya. Before I finish, antes de que termine. Before it starts to rain, antes de que empiece a llover. Before you get home, antes de que llegues a la casa. Before you find out, antes de que lo sepas. Before it starts snowing, antes de que empiece a nevar. Before I study, antes de que estudie. Before I get up in the morning, antes de que me despierte or me levante en la mañana. Before I go to bed, antes de que me acueste. Before I take a test, antes de que tome un examen. The point I'm making is, after antes de que, if you follow it with an action that has not happened yet, you must use VN8, present subjunctive. What's the major characteristic of the present subjunctive? Opposite vowel. Opposite vowel. And if you can get to the usted command, which is opposite vowel, and take that usted command, that's going to be the basis for your present subjunctive. Now let's look at the last one. before I left. Notice left is in the past tense. So this is going to be verb number 9, past subjunctive. Antes de que me fuera. If I want to say before I did it, the verb hacer, I would say antes de que lo hiciera. How do we get to the past subjunctive verb number 9? You take the ellos form of the preterite. Okay, you take the O out of the end of the ellos form of the preterite, change it to an A, and from that you form the rest of the past subjunctive. No exceptions. For example, they went in the preterite for the verb to go is fueron. Fueron. Change that O to an A. So if I want to say before I went to school, antes de que fuera a la escuela. All of this stuff is not really difficult. You just have to learn the patterns, learn the rules, and learn the irregulars. So when we study present tense, when we study the preterite, right, that's where you have a lot of irregulars in the present tense. What's based on the present tense? Your formal commands basically come out of the present tense. Your present subjunctive comes out of the present tense, verb number 3. And verb number 9 comes out of verb number 4, the past preterite. So if you learn past preterite really well, without even knowing it, you've already learned how to do the past subjunctive. If you learn the present tense really well, all those go verbs and the stem changing verbs, right? Then you're going to know VN8, the present subjunctive, and you're going to know 4 of the 5 commands. You're going to know the 2 formal commands, the usted, ustedes. You're going to know the negative 2 command, and you're going to know the let's command, the we form. So let's review. Before and after. If you want to say before or after plus a noun, it's either antes or después, and then a form of de. It could be de, del, de la, de los, or de las, and then the noun. Before the wedding, antes de la boda. After school, después de la escuela. Point number 2, if you want to say before or after doing something, you just use the infinitive after the day. After eating, después de comer. After taking a shower, después de tomar una ducha. Before taking an exam, antes de tomar un examen. After getting home, después de llegar a la casa. That's easy. Now, number 3 is the big one. Again, if you want to be at the top level of accuracy and fluency in Spanish, you got to handle the subjunctives, verb number 8 and verb number 9. If you say before, followed by anything that hasn't happened yet, it's got to be opposite vowel, present subjunctive, verb number 8. I used to say when I was teaching in the classroom, before the bell rings. If I want to say before the bell rings, 1 second before the bell rings, it's got to be opposite vowel. Antes de que suene. The verb is sonar. It's a UE stem change, and it's got the opposite vowel E. So before the bell rings, even 1 split second before the bell rings, I have to say antes de que suene la campana. Okay? Now, if I want to take that down into the past and say before the bell rang, it would be antes de que sonara la campana. Remember, past subjunctive is kind of either ara, iera, AR verbs are going to have an ara, ER, and IR verbs are going to have an iera. But if you want to be exact, take the AS form of the preterite, change that final O to an A, and from there you base all your past subjunctives, no exceptions. Okay, that'll do it for before and after. Practice on your own. Come up with some before sentences referring to something that hasn't happened yet, plus the opposite vowel, present subjunctive, and create some before sentences plus something that hadn't happened yet, like in the past, right? And then come up with a past subjunctive, verb number 9. All right, good luck with before and after. Hasta la próxima lección. This is Profesor Pablo signing off. Cambio fuera.